Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Good evening.
And it actually is evening.
It is evening. Yes. Amazing. Yes.
Because we've been pre-recording these a lot for quite a lot recently, haven't we? We've been like doing morning ones where we play it out the night. I don't know if they go down well or not, but this evening time.
It's actually evening time. Got to turn on my lights, which I'm getting there. So welcome to the show where Steve and I are going to solve some problems. One of the problems we've been having, sometimes they're personal because people have personal problems and we are people with problems and we solve them. And we were people who are comics. So ergo.
That was the original long title of the show. Took us quite a few meetings to trim it down.
Yeah, but luckily we had time because it was during COVID. I'm in a new house. This is we started it in one house, then another, and this is the third house that we've done the show in. So that's how many residences have you done the show?
Well, two properties as in terms of like which ones were bought, but this in this house I used to be in one of the rooms inside, and then somehow
I remember
got relegated to a shed. But there's still a guest room in there, and we've not had a guest in there for a long while. I mean, look. Maybe there's a part of me that thinks, how do I have a lower status in this house than people who don't flipping live here? But mate, let's not raise that right now. I'm in a shed. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, you protest too much because you love being in that fucking shed.
It is so good. There's a lot, which means people can't get in. I've got aircon. I mean, normally I complain about the temperature recently, but this is chilly in here, if anything. I got my Nespresso machine. Yeah, you're right. This is no ordinary shed.
Yeah, and we'll come back to locks when we talk about my story in a second. That's a good point to bring up. But yes, so I'm getting there. It's not quite all done yet and dusted. I have some lights on. I'm trying to get the effects of things, but I haven't arranged my menagerie of items yet. So this is just sort of all just stuck on it. I'd like to craft it a little bit more to send the right message. Yeah. And I've added. What do you think about the little Saturn thing? Do you like that?
It's nice. It's directly above your head, so it looks like a halo. But yeah, other than that,
yeah. I mean, but my son had it and he rejected it. So I was like, I'll have it.
Oh, right. Knockoffs. Great. We're having secondhand stuff.
Yeah. It's all secondhand stuff behind me. So yes. So I'm settled in. You're settled into your shed. And we're here to solve problems. So we are recording this in the evening. We almost managed to do an actual live show tonight, but we didn't.
Yep. So this is recorded on a Tuesday, going out on a Wednesday. What could possibly happen in the news? Yeah. In 23 hours.
So, I started last week. I don't know if should I start again this week? We didn't plan it part out. I mean, might as well, because I've got the big. Last week I was like, Trump's gonna get indicted. Trump's gonna he got indicted. So we're recording this on Tuesday, and Donald Trump has just left the courthouse where he was fingerprinted. Unfortunately, they do it digitally now, which is not the same.
So you don't have the inky fingers.
He doesn't have the blue inky fingers. He still has orange fingers.
Of course, yeah.
But he went in with those. I wonder if that affects the level of fingerprint that comes through. If he actually, when he put his fingers on the scanner and he lifted them up, it was like little paw prints.
It's going to be a little bit, if he somehow absconds, like anyone who's been eating Cheetos will get arrested. Somehow there'll be an overlap. Yeah.
We have learned, though, that they were able to use the child scanner for his hands.
Oh, nice.
That's a callback to 2016 when we used to make fun of his hand size back in the day. Before he was a traitor, we used to make fun of his funny little hands. And now he's been convicted of 31 charges. 31 charges of obstruction of justice, 37 charges in total, some of which are the Espionage Act. Some of the people that are, of course, watching this, they're skeptics. They're out there going, what about? What about? He didn't show the stuff to anyone.
Why are you doing like a Cockney accent for an American Republican skeptic?
That's the voice.
Go deep down. What? Donald Trump is my favorite.
Because we have a lot of British watchers, and a lot of those British watchers cross over to the other TV show, the channel that you do. And there's whataboutism on there, and that's what it sounds like to me here in the UK. The what about Joe Biden's documents that he was found to have, and also Vice President Pence had some documents. The difference is, and a lot of experts have said this, is that they gave back the documents when they found that they had them. Trump did not. And the charges that have been placed against Trump are only for the documents that he hid, according to the indictment, is like some sort of musical chairs game, which is a fun game. I know whenever I have the secret codes, what I try and do is I hide them from my lawyer and the FBI by having my assistant, who is definitely going to go to jail before I do, move them for me. This poor motherfucker who's been named in the indictment with Trump. So there's a lot about whataboutism going on. The difference is Trump didn't want to give back the documents. And then some people are saying, well, he was president. So I'm just trying to help people. This is what you hear all the time. He was president. He has the right to declassify things. And you're right. When he was president, he did. He wasn't president at the time. And also, it doesn't matter if they were declassified or not. The documents belong to me.
The American people.
I am the American people.
You are, yeah.
In this case, in this scenario, in this dichotomy,
yeah,
I am the American people. So they belong to the American government. They belong to the American people. He can have personal documents. And to Trump, a personal document is the nuclear codes. Because he spent so much time learning what the code was. It took him 4 years. And that's why he didn't want to give up the White House, because he just remembered it.
I think there's a strong chance that the nuclear code is camera, TV. What did you remember the list of 5 items?
Person, TV, camera.
Like, wow,
Man.
he remembers that really well. He took 3-4 years trying to learn that.
What was amazing is that those weren't just the things that he could see by looking around.
Yeah. That's a great bit of improv. Clearly, he took some classes back in the day.
Yeah, he definitely took some classes. So he was indicted today. They didn't do a mugshot because basically his mug is everywhere already. He did have to sign for a personal surety bond that he will behave. So he will be paying that because he won't.
Someone else
He
will be paying
won't
that.
behave. I mean, he won't pay it because he never pays his bills unless they're to porn stars. They always get what they deserve. But but they've suffered the most. Anyone that's had sex with Donald. He's been forbidden in the proceedings to speaking to any of the witnesses against him. So it doesn't look like he'll be speaking to Melania much anymore.
No change there then.
No change there then. He can travel, according to this, internationally still. So Russia is still an option. He could go there and do a Snowden. He did say he wasn't guilty. Or actually, he didn't say he wasn't guilty. He had a lawyer say it for him because he always makes the lawyers commit the crimes and do the false statements. What else did we learn today? Oh, yes. Some of his other defenders have been saying that because at times the boxes were moved around Mar-a-Lago and put in different places. And one of the times the boxes, when they were moving them in the shell game, were stored in a toilet because Donald wanted to, look at them while he was on his throne. And one of the people defending him said, well, yeah, but at least a bathroom door can lock.
It's secure. Yeah.
But someone, it was a news person, I can't remember what news channel it was on, made the point, yeah, but a bathroom locks from the inside.
It's only locked when someone's in there. Yeah.
Who's in there? Vlad, are you in there again? No, I'm not in looking at documents again. The food here not agree with me. How was that accent?
Character work. Loving it.
We should do more of these nighttime shows. So basically, he said he's not guilty. He's been released. He'll be doing a fundraiser tonight to try and make money off the back of this. He's been told he can't talk to the witnesses, but genuinely the witnesses are all of his Secret Service agents, everyone that works at Mar-a-Lago. And I don't know who he's going to be talking to.
That's almost a play of a man in a place where he can't speak. It's like almost Black Mirror-esque. Who legally can't speak to any of the people he knows. That'd be fascinating. But, it's not the biggest problem here, is it? I think there's a few things that I've noticed about this. This narrative of, he was the president, he could declassify it. I'm sure there's still a system to go through. I'm sure you'd call up the classification people and be like, hi, I'm the president, I'd like it to be declassified. You can't. Do you remember The Man with Two Brains, where Steve Martin did the citizen's divorce? Ipso facto declassificato. That's not how it works, is it? If you want them declassified, you'd have to tell someone. It is fascinating. Some of the pictures I saw, there were loads of them on the stage of a ballroom.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in keeping secrets, but if anything, I think putting things on stage draws attention to them. It seems to be the opposite of what you'd want to do. And there was a picture of someone in a shower, and I did think that's telling. Where a man who knows I ain't showering. I'm not going to need that shower. I'm not going to go there. Yeah, use the shower. I'm okay smelling like this. The whataboutism. I was going to say yes. Clearly, the Republican types, the right-wing types, do a lot of whataboutery, But I think you'll find that the Democrats also use what about the time when the Democrats were talking about Hillary? Something like that. It was the obvious joke. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I still think, though, that the court cases are going in the wrong order. Because I was talking about this on BBC Radio 5 Live. It's still available on iPlayer. Still, yeah. And I was speed reading the article to kind of know what I was talking about before we went on. And there's a bit where already you can spot the things that the Trump supporters do. There's little phrases that then start to be repeated a lot. And, idiots, if you repeat things to an idiot, they understand it. Which is why... something about the name of this show. It would have been harsh. But already they're calling this use of the judicial system against Trump election interference. They are linking it with the phrase election interference. So when the Georgia one happens and election interference is an actual thing, in people's minds, it will remind them of the Biden administration using the legal system against Trump. It's so bloody annoyingly clever. But if it would have gone the other way around, instead of doing the money for Stormy Daniels, the keeping the documents in the wrong place, go for the calling up and asking, could I please have more votes? Feels like that one might have been a bigger one.
The thing with the money case with Stormy Daniels is that was an effort by Trump for election interference because he was trying to hush her up before the election. So that's what raised the stakes of that, because they were misdemeanor crimes. Because, luckily in America, you can pay hush money to a porn star. That's what makes it such a great country. And it's a handy thing to be able to know that you can do it anytime, should you need to. But it was the timing of it and the way he paid it that was the problem. I
think that's what the people in the Mary Rose, that's exactly what they were thinking. Let's go to a nation where we can pay off porn stars. I think they were not allowed their religious freedom over here. Yeah. And, one of the religious freedoms includes paying off a porn star, like religious.
I mean, in this country, you can't even give a damehood or a baroness-ship to the people you want to anymore.
To a porn star?
Well, Nadine Dorries.
As yet to be proven. As yet to be disproven. She wrote erotic fiction.
Yep. I've seen some quotes from that.
So have we fully covered off the Trump thing?
There was something else really witty I was going to say, but...
Yeah, why do it here?
I mean, we're not done. There's going to be more indictments to come. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, the thing is, he's drawn a judge who's very sympathetic to him that he appointed after he lost the election. She's only 44 years old, and it feels like a federal judge should not be younger than I am. That does not seem right.
No, I think you've hit that stage now. You got to let that go. Like everyone who's at the peak of their game, everyone who's the most successful they are going to be, they're younger than we are now. It's just a fact. You're just looking at, who's this billionaire? Oh, this is young.
I am just reaching my prime. Soon I will reach a sexual peak.
Soon, yeah. Not too soon, hopefully, or we've got another in 15 minutes.
In about 4 minutes.
You set the timer going, and but
I'll do my new set timer for 4 minutes.
I thought you were going to say set timer for sexual peak.
4 minutes, counting down.
Counting down. Uh-oh. There's a
it's on my
sword
right
of
hand.
Damocles, yeah.
I haven't gotten my steps in yet today.
Well, that'll do it. Won't it? So we're up to date with the Trump situation. The documents.
As it were.
What was the other thing that people kept... So there's the fact that other people have done it as well, that Biden and Pence...
Yep.
There was another trope that
he has the right to declassify at any time because he's president, even though he's on tape as part of the indictment saying, if I had declassified this when I was president, I could show it to you, but I'm not president anymore, so I can't.
So he understands it.
So he understands the concept, which is the whole thing that they say he can't prove because they said he didn't understand things. So they say but they still say he retains the right to do that, and that it's a witch hunt, and that it was just a minor document dispute that went on for a year and a half, and that he so resisted giving the documents back that he lied to his lawyer and was literally moving boxes around to hide them.
This is the thing. There's also a clip of him showing or an audio clip of him showing some of these documents. Is it Kid Rock?
Well, the audio clip that I've heard of, he was showing some biographers of one of his aides.
All right. And there's, I heard on radio that Kid Rock got a glance. I think actually it's a clip of Kid Rock saying, when I was round at Mar-a-Lago, Donald showed me these. Oh, wow, that's secure. Literally, Kid Rock knows all these secrets. But
Who
it's
would have
not,
thought Kid Rock would let you down?
but it's not as if Donald Trump would have read these things even when he had the gig. So the big question is, and the thing that can't be proved yet, is that why was he taking them? Was it to sell them on for money? I'm not saying it was, but it was.
I mean, some people weirdly like keepsakes.
Imagine half of that's flipping declassified business, isn't it? All that. Like, you got a stamp on that thing behind you saying "for your eyes only." There's no need for that, is there? So before we crack, should we crack on to the next story and be? It's fine if we're interrupted through your sexual peak halfway through. Which is
You've got. You want to know how long we've got until that happens?
How long?
Well, do you want it digital or analog?
He's got a smartwatch and it's beating him. So
I don't know what it's doing now. Hold on.
It's
not counting.
I don't want to try and beat you at these. It's not a competition, this show, right? But you've just talked about someone who might be a criminal. I want to talk about someone who is, at the time of broadcast, more of a criminal than Donald Trump.
What?
Boris Johnson is in the news, as he always is, and he's definitely a criminal. He got the old fixed penalty fine, didn't he, for going and having a party and all that stuff. But it's important to remember this story is now not about them having a birthday party or any parties. It's about lying about parties, because therefore it's about lying in Parliament. If you set the precedent, well, you can lie about stuff as long as people don't mind. Hey, come on, we're all lying here. Then what is the point of having a Parliament? So, I don't know if you know this, but Boris Johnson resigned. Ooh! Exciting.
Did he? I didn't hear that.
It's been quite the news. The latest thing is that he's doing a last-ditch attempt. He's sending a letter to the inquiry to try and see, I don't know, if someone can get chased. I'm not sure why he can do that, because why is he sending a letter? He's not an MP anymore. Oh, awkward. I think he should have to write to his MP. And I hope there's been sort of some admin mix-up that means his main address was registered in the constituency, so he has to write a letter to his MP just to receive one back going, oh, sorry, mate, you don't have one right now, due to the one that you had just absolutely shat their load and ran off when things got a bit scary. Because that's the thing. There was no reason for him to resign. He could have kept his job. The committee managed to have some... Oh, there it is. There's the peak. Look away now.
Okay, carry on. Sorry.
It's just news of Boris Johnson having to step down, did it? That's what it was.
Yeah.
So the committee would have recommended more than 10 days of suspension. So then you go and ask Parliament, should we do a recall thing? And then you got to ask the constituents whether they want to recall, and then there's a by-election. So many opportunities for Boris to win. If he is so sure that he has the backing of the people, he could have gone along and done it. But no, he stepped down and then just blamed everyone else for him leaving. It's like, literally, you jumped. This is definitely not a push. This is, I think they're going to slightly push me, and I might not be strong enough to push back. So, oh no, it's not fair. So it's interesting that he then turned, didn't he? And it's very lazy to call him Trumpian, but in some of the things that have happened, he wrote a thing in The Spectator where he called it a kangaroo court. There were clips of him when giving evidence saying things like, when the committee was saying, will you stick to the ruling of this committee? And he was saying, if you find me not guilty, which I'm sure you will, I will stick to... That is so Trump bullshit that there are two states. There is, you prove me innocent, or it is clearly a fraud. Yeah. That's the annoying thing of this, that I know that we copy America in some ways. Obesity, definitely that one's happened. Not the guns yet, maybe, I don't know, but we're definitely copying in terms of having a big old liar in charge of stuff. The other thing that's been interesting has been what happened before. Just before we heard that Boris Johnson stepped down as a member of Parliament, someone else went. And this is a great loss to democracy. Nadine Dorris, this is one of her latest tweets. Number 10 spent Sunday spreading the narrative that my appointment was rejected by Holak. I believe, just as a quick aside, Holak is the tall one in Game of Thrones who could only say Holak, Holak, Holak. And it turns out he's actually saying House of Lords, whatever. The commission is independent advisory body and does not have any power to veto a nomination. Someone underneath this tweet straight away found a thing that said, oh, no, they're in charge of approving things. So, they are. But isn't it just the most first world problem. It's not even first world problem, is it? So it's the 0th world problem that your big complaint is, no one will make me a dame. It's so relatable. At some point, I'm sure there'll be a big story written about that. No, you know what it's like when you want to be a dame and they won't let you a dame. And she's blamed it on snobbery. Mm-hmm. Now, this winds me right up because, yeah, she's from a working class background and I'm from a working class background. And she has socially climbed way more than I have. So, you know, she's from Liverpool, I'm from Manchester. She goes on to be, what's the title here? The Right Honourable Nadine Dorries. I turn into, that bloke does that thing pre-recorded on the internet sometimes. So out of the two of us, we know who's got the power, who's punching up and who's punching down. Let's remember that. She blamed all of this stuff on snobbery. When she went in the jungle back in the day, when she was trying to be famous, then there was some complaints about her doing this while being a sitting MP. And she said, the reason that the Conservatives don't want me to do it is because it's toffs like David Cameron and George Osborne, and blamed it on snobbery. So you're not allowed to go there, it's snobbery. She had some fights with James O'Brien, call those misogyny. Well, that's different at least. And then goes back to blaming not being allowed to have a damehood snobbery. It's got the energy of, you know, those people who say the problem is men just don't like a strong woman like me. And it turns out there's also a chance that maybe you're unlikable. Do you know what I mean? You'd have to do tests. You can't definitively, just as a logical statement, from your point of view, it's indistinguishable whether men don't like a strong woman or you. And it's the same thing there, isn't it? This is snobbery because they won't let me be a dame. Or is it, though? Do you not think there might be other things than your socioeconomic grouping?
I think, for her, the technical term is they don't like her because she's a dick.
Oh, interesting. I'm sure she'll say you only said that due to snobbery.
But not misogyny.
No, because it's a male one, I suppose. Yeah. So then she stepped down from her mid-Bedfordshire, just across the border from where we're recording this, her mid-Bedfordshire seat. And people are thinking, maybe this is the big plan. Boris has, according to some polls recently, going to lose Uxbridge anyway. So why would he go to a by-election that he was probably going to lose the election? I still think it wouldn't have been a bad idea because you could have reframed it to win the by-election, even admitting that the election's different. An election is not, this is about sending a message about the corrupt kangaroo court thing. But people think there might be a chicken run happening, that Boris Johnson might be then standing in another safe Tory seat like the one that Nadine Dorries had. And if there's one thing we know about Boris, for some reason, he does perform well in beds. So I definitely mentioned Nadine. It was mid-Bedfordshire.
Well, I Nadine definitely would love for that to happen. I mean, all of that erotic fiction was for Boris. I mean, her levels of sycophantry are pretty up there. And I watch a lot of Trump supporters, but because I watched her interview with Piers Morgan. And he did a fairly good job of calling her out a bit. And she was just like, he said, you don't believe that Boris Johnson lies? And she's like, no. And I don't think she does. But I've heard a lot of people say that Boris Johnson doesn't even realize he's lying, that he has that Trumpian ability because he's lied so much. And because he sees, the people on the counter side of it that say getting rid of Boris was because, he proves with Partygate and so on that the COVID thing was a lie, that it was never bad for us because he was partying all the time. And that's not the case. Boris didn't follow the rules for Partygate, for COVID, because he believes he's above all the rules. He doesn't believe in the rules of marriage, doesn't believe in the rules of apparently lying to Parliament. So why would he believe that he had to follow the same COVID rules? He's the dickhead who got COVID by shaking hands with people in a hospital at the peak of the infection when we didn't know what the hell was going on. Yeah. He thinks viruses will do what he wants.
And do you know what? Loads of people do end up doing what he wants. So it's unsurprising that he thinks, I'm on a roll now. My technological advisor used to pole dance in front of me. Imagine being that guy who, for some reason, loses a sock round the your lover's house, nips off to open up the Olympics. You're just winning at everything. So why wouldn't you think, I tell you what, I'm just going to lie because I've done far worse and got away with it?
Yeah. I mean, when people say that him partying proves that COVID wasn't bad for us,
Proves that Boris is bad for us. Although, in his defense, if you do lie a lot, you start to believe the lie in the same way that if you tell a lot of material, eventually you start to think it's true. And then there's another weird thing that happens mentally where if you hear someone do some material quite a lot, because you gig together a lot, you then start to think that's one of your stories and you tell it on stage, sat next to the guy who used to do that material.
Now, some people that happens to, they don't think it happened to them. They just remember hearing about it happening to someone who they think that the two people might mutually know.
Oh, no, I did know myself. Yeah, I had met the guy who did that material.
I remembered the story about the pig with the corkscrew penis. I didn't think it happened to me. I didn't say I corkscrewed a pig. I'd forgotten that you had.
Yeah. No,
allegedly.
You've, again, forgotten quite a lot of the material. If you cut to the end there, don't you?
I was just abbreviating the joke, unless you want to tell the whole joke. But yes, it can become confusing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Multiple. It's like Ronald Reagan was starting to reminisce stories about his time in the war that were actually the plots of movies he was in after the war about the war, which is kind of the same thing. Yeah. Hillary Clinton remembered getting shot at in Bosnia, and she wasn't.
You and your whataboutery. Look at that. Oh, but what about when Clinton nearly got shot at?
And her emails.
And do you know what? On the station that I sometimes work on doing some telly, did quite a lot of shows recently. And every so often, as soon as you do one of those shows, your Twitter is a nightmare. For the next day or so, I actually can't see any messages because like mentions, because there are just a ton of them coming in of people arguing about all the stories. And one of them said, when will this network finally start talking about Hunter Biden's laptop? I thought, have you not watched it for more than a minute? How have you missed that?
Yeah. Right. If you want to get more of those Twitter interactions, you should get a little sign on to put in front of you that has your Twitter handle on it while you're on the show.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's what I could cope with right now in my life. They're not always polite. Put it that way. The Twitter response you get after doing one of those shows, not always warm and caring.
Yeah, I've not done it for a while, but my time on the show, not really any interaction.
No, if you did one again now, it's changed. There's just people sat there waiting to do this stuff, and it's less fun than you imagine. Although there was one guy who did say something nice about me. It was someone who hated the channel, but they said, I've just watched this clip of this news channel, and it seems to be, it was something like there are two gammons going on about stuff and some bald guy throwing in facts. And I thought, oh, thanks. I couldn't just say the guy throwing in facts. I had to throw the bald thing in there, but yeah.
You're sure you're not one of the...
On that particular show, I was the only bald gentleman. but halfway through that tweet, I wasn't sure. Like, oh, now what am I being blamed for? Oh no, I'm the bald guy throwing in the facts.
I like that one of the conspiracy theories around Nadine, Boris resigning, and that other dude that none of us had heard of in protest was that was going to lead that was the domino effect that was going to bring down the whole government. And it was like the Jerry Maguire scene where it's like, I'm leaving and who's coming with me? And then no one did. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to mention about Trump calling back. It's a similar thing is that the other thing he did, how he famously did the tweet, come on January 6th, we'll be wild. And people then stormed the Capitol and tried to insurrect and overthrow the U.S. government. Well, he sent a similar tweet out before the indictment come to Miami, and there were literally, because it just happened today, dozens and dozen of protesters. It was barely 2 dozen protesters.
So he's risk though, if it had have worked, literally.
What's great, because literally more people have been arrested for the January 6th insurrection than turned up for today's indictment, because actual criminal punishment for people does work to disincentivize people from turning up, because they realize Trump's not president. He can't pardon you. And he never paid a penny in legal fees because he doesn't pay his own legal fees. Yeah. So he's definitely not going to pay for yours if you're thinking about standing by him. So in a country armed to the fucking teeth, Trump has been successfully indicted twice and no one has done anything. And that has got to rattle him. He definitely wants people to come and shoot someone for him.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out as more of these things happen, and there are more of these things.
And luckily, hopefully we'll get the Georgia indictment, and then there's the insurrection indictment, and then there's a couple other court cases. So I'm looking forward to that. Keep us busy. I don't know if we solved a problem there, but we're out of time. I was going to show you some stuff that I've collected over the years, but we'll save that for next time when I have a lack of material.
So when you start seeing the props come out, you know what's happening. Beautiful. Yeah, I think we're all done. Plugging stuff?
Yes, there's an exciting opportunity to see a wonderful preview with one of the top satirical comedians in the United Kingdom this Sunday in Kingston. Her name is Sarah Holt. You've probably seen her on the internet, and she's going to be doing an amazing show in Kingston at Crack Comedy. So definitely come down and see that because she is incredible.
Rosie Holt.
Did I say Sarah Holt?
Yeah. We'll take that in post. But yeah, and Rosie's also on with.
And Sarah's really good as well.
Yeah. Oh, great. I'm under the bill. I'm lower down the bill than the fictional person you just made up.
I think I might have sent an email saying Sarah Holt as well.
Oh. Well, that explains why ticket sales are as they are. Yes. So that's Sunday the 18th, isn't it?
Who's Sarah Holt?
Someone you went to school with, probably. So far, I've done 2 previews of my Edinburgh show, so you can come along. Actually, I might have some this week, but if not, you'll be seeing it on like the 3rd or 4th preview, so you can imagine how smooth and polished it is.
So yes, that was meant to be Rosie and Steve. That's what I got. Sarah's who I put in the email.
You didn't, did you? Ooh.
That's fine. It says Holt. They'll know. I'll fix it. I'll do a recall.
Yeah, no, they always work, don't they?
They always work. Don't tell. At least this isn't in a place where anyone will hear it about it.
Well, that's true. Speaking of which, Kofi. Yeah, so there's that. There's also, last time we did one of these shows all the time, I think it was last time, I said, go and get my podcast of my radio show because the guy who lived underwater for 93 days and came up younger was younger in all the ways, more stem cells, better DNA, lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol, younger in every way apart from the important metric, how many days he'd been alive. There's been an update in the news. And on the last week's podcast, I did a version of Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid with funny lyrics about being trapped under the water. He's in the news because they've measured another thing about him. He's now half an inch shorter, which, to be fair, is also something linked to youth. I used to be shorter when I was younger. So it's a flip side, isn't it? That you are healthier, but you come up shorter. And in the podcast that goes out tomorrow, I did the version of Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid about height. It's the same joke, but it's different lyrics. So, yeah, have a listen.
There you go. So come and see Gary and Sarah at a preview.
Oops. She's the star name. This is the one. You're better off getting my name wrong.
The star name. Well, at least I got Holt right. People will know.
Yeah. No, they won't. No, they won't. No, okay. Anyway, I think we are delightfully out of time. Done for another week.
Yeah, I'm done.
Let you go and do an email recall.
I'm done. Yes, done for another week, and we'll be back next. Well, this is going out on Wednesday, so maybe Wednesday again.
Yeah, who knows?
We'll see.
Or whatever comes first. But anyway,
come and see Steve in Kingston on Sunday, and we will see you then.
Yeah. Till then, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems.
And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video.
Or subscribe. Commitment.